Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, classmates. We're Group 3. And now we're going to discuss Unit 3 in opportunities and challenges in international marketing. And I'm Kathleen Joy S. Alumno.
I'm Loraine and Bantatua.
I am Jazmine Batac.
I'm Jasper Barilamat.
I'm Genevieve Certeza.
I'm Ian Markdia.
I am Salve Fuensalida.
I am Elaine Geta.
I'm Gian Pandonggan.
I'm Joeymae Siervo.
I'm Solano. And I am Yumika.
It is not news in the business world the external challenges that a firm encounter, where it often leads to the sudden halt of their activities. This is why firms need to prepare themselves and develop active responses. New strategies need to be envisioned, new plans need to be made, and even the way of doing business needs to be changed. There are no benefits for a firm to be traditional on their way of doing business, because target markets are always subject to change their tastes and preferences. Hence, there are a lot of times where going global creates a positive growth for the company and to not just stay as a surviving firm in the industry. By transferring knowledge around the globe, an international firm can build and strengthen its competitive competition. And that is what our topic Unit 3 is all about. Now, let's move to the first lesson from this unit, Lesson 10. Who employs international marketing? Thanks to the advancements of our society that are made from the past years, even without having physical presence from other countries, stores can now actually market themselves and sell their product internationally. But this also depends on the thought and research that is put into the international marketing strategy. We have here the 5 market entry modes with the risk versus reward perspective: the export, licensing, contract manufacturing, joint venture, and direct investment. Now, companies that often perform well internationally include 3 out of those 5. They are involved in, first, export. It is the practice of shipping goods directly to a foreign country. In the Philippines, we are known as the world's largest producer of coconut, pineapple, and abaca. Additionally, according to the data from tradingeconomics.com, the main export partners of the Philippines are Japan with 21%, the United States with 15%, China with 12%, and Hong Kong with 8%. Second is the joint venture. This refers to the combined efforts of 2 or more businesses to their mutual benefit. They are usually formed by 2 businesses with complementary strengths. Basically, it is a combination of 2 or more parties that seek the development of a single enterprise or project for profit, sharing the risks associated with its development. Sony Ericsson is one of the most famous international joint venture success stories. Third is what we call direct investment. This places a fixed asset in a foreign country with the aim of manufacturing a product or a part of product abroad. Dell Computers is a great example of that. Direct investment takes different shapes and forms. A company may enter a foreign market through the so-called greenfield direct investment, in which the direct investor provides funds to build a new factory, distribution facility, or store, for example, to establish its presence in the host country. At the same time, a company also has an option of choosing brownfield direct investment. Instead of establishing a new presence, the company invests in or takes over an existing local company. Brownfield investment means acquiring existing facilities, suppliers, and operations, and often the brand itself. And that is all for my part. Let me pass you to the next reporter of Lesson 11, International Marketing and Foreign Customers.
Foreign customers have different buying habits
preferences, and priorities based on their cultural beliefs and traditions. It is very important for the marketing team to conduct research, do surveys, and test out certain marketing methods that would best compromise the cultural differences that would possibly arise within the target market. They should be sensitive enough with norms, customs, and even the language to not get misunderstood by the people. If the team would fail to do that though, they would encounter huge marketing blunders. Some examples include incidents for the brands Pepsodent, Fresca, and Coors. Pepsodent is a toothpaste brand that offers whitening toothpaste to make teeth look cleaner. However, that was not the case in Southeast Asia. Some locals and even some Filipinos chew betel nuts or nganga to blacken their teeth, as to them it is a sign of attractiveness. So, marketing Pepsodent as a whitening toothpaste brand to them would come off as a product that would make them unattractive, undoing this nganga custom, which is clearly disrespectful. Next, we have the soft drink brand Fresca. So far, the name is retained in Mexico, but it may be pretty embarrassing to market that brand name to a place where such word is used as slang for lesbian. Fresca actually means fresh, though, so for some people, it would come off as a lesbian drink rather than a fresh drink. It's just funny. Lastly, we have another drink, which is Coors, a beer brand. The slogan for Coors originally says, "Turn it loose." However, when it was being marketed to Spanish-speaking communities, the slogan was translated to "Sueltate con Coors," which means "suffer from diarrhea." You wouldn't want a bottle or a can of cold beer to make you experience digestive problems, right? It was another shameful mistake on their part. What do we get from these mistakes? Again, research, research, research. Focus on the mission to help serve to customers in the best way possible regardless of their demographic. Pay attention to the culture if the brand aims to make it global. Install and promote diversity and sensitivity into its marketing. If the firm is able to do so, they can hire representatives from different ethnicities. This will help them not only in giving work opportunities to the marginalized, but also educate and inform the firm and the environment of various cultures to ensure this kind of diversity and sensitivity. Finally, it is important to assess and discuss about the overall progress and results of the improved international marketing strategies, preferably on a quarterly basis, to be more timely and regular.
Lesson 13. 7 important reasons for which international marketing is needed. The international marketing is needed for the following reasons. Number 1. Rapid industrialization. Countries are economically dependent on one another. Every country has to import certain goods and also to export so as to pay for imports. International marketing has become prominent because of international independence and growing industrializations. Number 2. Maintaining international prices. It is not possible that varying prices will prevail in international marketing for long. Various countries market their goods at competitive rates. The comparative cost benefits enjoyed by one country in a particular item can be shared by other countries. Number 3. Rise standard of living. There is a consciousness all over the world and people desire to rise their standard of living through the consumption of best quality goods at reasonable prices, no matter where they are pursued. Number 4. Fulfills economic needs. The increase in the rate of population growth has brought pressure on the government to fulfill economic needs of growing numbers of its people. In order to do so, imports and exports become obligatory. Next slide, please. Number 5. Cultural exchanges. Cultural differences separate the countries from another. This gap can be connected through international trade and exchange of culture. Number 6. Cost benefits. International marketing becomes the only option to exchange goods and export such as goods where the countries enjoy cost benefits. A country will import such goods with either cannot produce or will produce at a higher cost. The last one is help both developed and developing countries. International marketing is also required to narrow the gulf between advanced and developing countries. Even advanced nations must export their surplus so that underdeveloped countries can obtain their requirements. In turn, advanced countries must provide concessional terms so that developing countries have no option but to import superior technical know-how from developed countries.
Good day everyone, I am Salve Fuensalida. I'll be reporting Lesson 14, Characteristics of International Marketing. The first characteristic of international marketing is large-scale operations. International marketing transactions and operations always involve in a large amount or bulk quantity of products. This was to address the needs in accordance with transportation, warehousing, and handling of the products. The second one is the dominance of multinationals. Multinational corporations help international marketing to be familiar and aware of what are the techniques and strategies that are beneficial to their business operations. The third one is the international restrictions and trading blocks. International marketing also involves international restrictions, such as tariff and non-tariff constraints. Foreign and local imports and exports should also follow some rules and regulations with regards of foreign exchange and barters. Tariff barriers are government tax imposed charge on goods for exporting and importing of it, while non-tariff barriers are imposed indirectly on imported items such as import deposits, licenses, quotas, and etc. The fourth characteristic is the sensitive character. Political and economical factors are highly influencing the product demand. It can also be the reason why a certain product became unfavorable to the market. The fifth characteristic of international marketing is the needs of marketing research. International marketing research is an accessible tool in planning the process of export and import of goods. It is also important to critically review and assess demand for the products as well as the factors that are related to a given export destination. The sixth characteristics of international marketing is the importance of advanced technology. Highly advanced technology has been widely used in business processes such as production, advertising, marketing, and establishing the company's brand name. High quality of products can be done especially because of our advanced technology, and by that, it can help international marketers to find products that are fair with its prices. And that's all from my report.
So I will continue the lesson 14, characteristic of international marketing. So the seventh characteristic of international marketing is need for specialized institution. International marketing is risky and complicated. Here it's really expected that international marketing is risky and complicated. So what do we mean by that? International marketing have so many parts or aspects that difficult to deal with that may probably cause loss or failure. That's why professional experts are necessary for dealing with those various aspects. So specialized institutions like indent houses So indent houses, it is an import goods from a foreign country that can take place directly or through middlemen. Exchange banks and export houses are established worldwide for effective participation in international marketing. So export houses, I don't know if you are familiar with it. It is mostly home-based organization located in the manufacturer's country, which is involved in the export of product that the manufacturer has produced. These export houses carry out most of the export-related activities overseas via their own agent and distributor who are in place in the country where the product is being exported. So the eighth characteristic of international marketing is keen and acute competition. International marketing is highly competitive. So here we all know that the world market are dynamic, meaning it change continuously. It's like a change is an always to be expected condition of the world market that makes it necessary to use a competitive techniques for export promotion. So the ninth characteristic of international marketing is develop cultural relations and maintain world peace. Closer cultural relations improve the quality of life in different countries. So here, participating countries have to maintain friendly relations among themselves to ensure cordial relations among the nation of the world and ensure world peace. One of the best example of this is the summit meeting. I know we all know that it is a international meeting attended by every head of state where they discuss common issues and seek solution to problems shared by all countries, be they economic, social, military, or political in nature. So the last characteristic of international marketing is need for long-term planning. The marketing situation in different countries changes because of social, economic, and political factors. So like what I've said earlier, world markets are dynamic. It is necessary to have a long-term planning for the possible changes to keep up, not to be left behind on those possible changes in market. So that's all the characteristic of international marketing. So let's move on to the lesson 15, which is entitled Factor Influencing International Marketing Policies. So now let me discuss the first factor, which is cultural factors. What do we mean cultural factors? It is a set of values and ideologies of a particular community or group of individuals. It is the culture of an individual which they decide on how they behave. In simpler words, culture is nothing but values of an individual. Social values become the distinguishing factor between domestic and international marketing. Before stepping in the international marketing in any way, it is really essential to understand the cultural dynamics of these foreign markets. Social values are defined as standards which individuals and social groups employ to define personal goals and essentially shape the nature and form of social order. It is like what is acceptable or not acceptable, what is ought or not to be, and what is desirable or non-desirable. The existence of subculture. So subculture is the ideas, art, and way of life of a group of people within a society which are different from the ideas, art, and way of life of the rest of the society, and subculture arises due to the differences existing within in culture. So the demand for product influenced by cultural factors or the culture within a nations culture or subculture must be ascertained to achieve success in the field of international marketing. So, under cultural factors, these are the following aspects of cultural background of a foreign market that international market must study. First, the material culture. So, material culture refers to the physical aspect of a society, the objects made or modified by a human. So, on the screen, these are the example of material culture. It consists of concrete and tangible objects like tools, implement, furnitures, automobile, books, building, and etc. These concrete and tangible objects are man-made. So that's all for my participation. The next remaining factors will discussed by the next reporter. Thank you.
So for the second factor, we have the political considerations. In conducting of international trade, politics is a crucial factor. Characteristics such as political stability, political leaders' attitude towards foreigners and foreign trade, or the degree of state intervention in the economy will affect a company's ability to enter a foreign market as well as to gain profit. That is why it is important to study and assess the political environment a country has. So we have here the political systems. Any type of political system a country has, whether it is socialistic, capitalistic, democratic, etc., they must be analyzed since the philosophy of the government is reflected in its policies. Next is philosophy of the government. Generally, the governments of the target foreign countries specify their priority areas in which foreign business is encouraged. So it is essential to study the government's philosophy, particularly its policy towards private sector and foreign businesses. Next is the permanency and stability of the policy of the government. It is necessary to examine the extent of permanency and stability of government policy of the target foreign market. The marketer must always be careful about such changes in the policy that lead to its destabilization. One thing to note is that the policy of a government in the field of trade may be rendered unstable. It's because of the following factors that I will be mentioning. So A is change in government, B growing aspirations of nationalism, and C shifting of political parties reaching the government at different levels. So the third and final factor is the economic factors. Whatever the economic situation a country or market has, it will have an impact on what the businesses offers, the say product or service, and how a business presents itself to the target customer as well as its product or service. For international marketing, the economics of the target market as well as the international economy affect the marketing strategy. So the marketer should study the following indications. These factors play a tremendous role in chalking out the marketing strategy of the firm deciding to enter the international marketing arena. So we have here A, gross national product or GNP, B, per capita income, C, purchasing power of the consumers, D, rate of economic growth, E, level and degree of industrialization, and lastly F, the form of marketing channels and related infrastructure. So that's it for my report today. I will now turn it over to the next reporter.
So, good afternoon everyone. So, let's talk about the quick discussion about the key difference between international marketing and domestic marketing. So, first one is the international marketing. So, international marketing is the marketing activities are carried out across the national boundaries, which means this marketing activities is working into outside our country or across our national boundaries. So unlike to the domestic marketing, is marketing activities are carried out within the national boundaries. So this marketing is working into inside our country or our home country. So the difference is huge since international is marketing into the huge firm outside our country, and the domestic marketing is only for our home country, which means it's the working in the one country inside. So for the further difference in international and domestic marketing, so let's take a look at this. So the first one is currency. So since international marketing is huge or working into outside our country, so they deals with different currencies. So example, this is dollar, euro, yen. Since they working to a different countries, so the currencies of different countries is we need to consider it. And like in the domestic marketing, it's only deals with the one currency, which our own currency, the pesos. So for the next one, it's a legal system, which means international marketing. As I said earlier that it is a huge group of marketing, so its legal system varies from country to country. So the legal system we need to verify for each country is, so we need to consider it. So since a different country has a different system, so a legal system, so we need to consider it since it's huge. So unlike to domestic marketing, law are more or less the same. So this law we need to follow inside our country, the laws that it comes of the legality of the business or the marketing itself. And the next one is exchange rate. So international marketing, exchange rate are determined. So it's just like a currency that have different currencies, and we need to consider or to deal with it. And exchange rate is determined since they have a different rate inside their country. So in the domestic marketing, no determination of exchange rate is required since it's only working inside our country. So exchange rate is the same. So the next one is the political environment. So international marketing is countries differ in political environment. So they're working to a different countries. So the political environment is different. It's more deeper than our country. So they have a different political environment in their country. So in terms of marketing, we need to deal with it, and we need to consider it also. And yeah, and the domestic marketing, it remains the same within the country. So in terms of domestic marketing, in what political environment that we have right now, it's just the same. Just we need to deal with it and working in right way, so that we can respect for the political environment itself for our country. And the next one should be morality of the labor. So international marketing, labor is less mobile, and the domestic labor is more mobile. And the next one is documents are procedures and procedures. International, lot of documents and procedures are required. So since international marketing is working on the country to country itself, so there is a lot of documents and procedure are required. So we have a different documents and procedures inside in one country. So international marketing have a different country that they intersecting or they have relationships. So it's a lot of documents to need to compile, need to verify, and all that requirements is required because it is international marketing. Unlike in domestic marketing, relatively less document and procedure are required. Since they're working inside our country, the documents is inside our country, just easy it is an easy way since we are working in our own country. So it's a disadvantage of international marketing since they working in different countries. So there are the needs, and there are the different measurement or documents that we need to consider. So the last one for my part is the culture, since international marketing is culture deeper among countries. So these cultures comes up international marketing is a more important. So this is the thing that we need to consider it, since countries has different cultures we need to respect, we need to consider it. So it's having a deeper meaning of their culture for that country, so we need to consider it. So in terms of marketing, all we know that cultures has a big impact for that, and so that international marketing is cultures differ among countries. So in domestic marketing, cultures is more or less the same, but in our domestic marketing, this is our cultures we need to more giving attention to, since cultures are more important. This is our body, this is our soul. So these cultures we need to respect, we need to determine the right way or the right thing in terms of cultures. So these cultures, even it's international or just domestic marketing, we need to consider it. And thank you. And that's all. That's my part. And let's continue with Gian Pandonggan. Thank you.
So here, we will discuss the differences of international marketing and domestic marketing. First is the risk. The difference between the two is that more risk is involved in international marketing than domestic marketing. The risks in international marketing are the currency risk, advertising, cross-cultural risk, and country risk. The risk of domestic marketing is lesser because the covered area is lesser too. Next is the market attributes. In contrast to the international market, where businesses deal with numerous clients from different backgrounds, the domestic market presents businesses with just one set of competitive, economic, and market concerns. It takes sensitivity and flexibility to promote internationally. In an international market, a product's demand is greatly influenced by political and economic considerations. Language. In international marketing, you need to adapt the main language of the other country to expose more the brand. On the other hand, domestic marketing will stick and use the same language of the one country. Consistency. Since there are various customers with different preferences in the international target market, international businesses are more consistently heterogeneous. Domestic markets, on the other hand, are more consistently homogeneous because their target market is the only local and for the most part, shares the same preferences. Transport cost. Since domestic transportation is only local and does not pass borders, international trade is significantly more expensive. Internationally, however, the time it takes to move products between countries can cost businesses a considerable amount of money because of the time it takes, the tariffs that must be paid, and the custom checks. Government interference. In international marketing, the company must follow the laws and rules of the countries. Also, the government can put tax in the products. In domestic marketing, it's not that complicated because the company will follow lesser laws and can avoid loss. Last is control. When conducting marketing operations outside of national borders, international marketing is substantially more controlled. Domestic marketing, in contrast, is less tight about restricting its marketing activities to those that take place within national borders.
Lesson 17. Levels of International Marketing Planning. The international marketing planning can be divided into 3 levels: operational planning, strategic planning, and corporate planning. Operational planning creates a detailed roadmap based on a strategic plan. The operational plan aligns timelines, action, items, and key milestones that finance or the business needs to complete to execute on the strategic plan. In this way, an operational plan outlines the organization's key objectives and goals and clarifies how the organization will achieve them. And this is the level of operational planning. First is, this kind of planning is the responsibility of each overseas operating unit. And second is, done for 1 to 3 years planning. And third is, plans are formulated at units level and integrated at regional levels. After that, it is forwarded to the headquarters. Strategic planning. Strategic planning is a process in which an organization's leaders define their vision for the future and identify their organizational goals and objectives. The process includes establishing the sequence in which those goals should be realized so that the organizations can reach its stated vision. And this is the level of strategic planning. First is, these kinds of strategies are formed at the operating level. Second is, headquarters deliberately provide general guidelines as to how far a field or a local operation might explore. And third is, this is done to encourage the local manager to increase their outlook. And the last is, the plans are subjects to review at headquarters. Or 3. Corporate planning. Corporate planning is a process that is used by businesses to map out a course of actions to grow and increase profits, gain and exposure, or strengthen brand identity. Corporate planning is a tool that successful business use to leverage their resources more wisely than their competitors. And this is the level of corporate planning. This kind of planning is done at international headquarters. And second is, there are worldwide plans developed at headquarters tied closely to overall corporate objectives and plans. This kind of planning has two types: the protective planning and opportunity planning. Protective planning, it is a strategic and long-range planning in character. It anticipates worldwide changes in markets and business conditions relating to the present scope of the operations. And opportunity planning is, it is directed towards seeking new business direction for growth and diversification.
18. 5 steps involved in the process. Steps involved in the international marketing management are as follows. First step is analyzing international marketing opportunities. The first step in the process of international marketer management process. This step is taken to identify unfulfilled or unfulfilled needs that a marketer may satisfy to its products or services. This can be done through information seeking and analysis, or through market research, or primary or secondary data collection and analysis. The second step is selecting target markets. Once potential opportunities has been identified, it is now time to select the groups of potential international customers or target markets to whom to sell the products or services. This step also involves identifying the potential buyers, demand measurements, and forecasting market segmentation, market targeting, and market positioning. This step is also requires the marketers to decide what key benefits in a product or service to offer to the select target customer and on aspect to difference from the competition. Either it is accessible or you can find a way to reach it. Accessibility or the lack of it could include geographic accessibility, political and legal barriers, technological barriers, or social barriers. For example, to overcome geographic barriers, the consumer products company Unilever hires women in third world countries to distribute the company's products to rural consumers who lack access to stores. And for the third step, adopting appropriate business and marketing strategies. To achieve this step, best value for the buyer and net profits for the firms. The firms needs to optimize all the activities, effort undertaken, and resolution and utilization. This requires the firm to adopt a coherent and appropriate logic or strategy to direct and control the alignment, coordination, optimization of its business and marketing effort. And for the step 4, developing international market mix. Marketing mix identifies 4 key areas: products, place, price, and promotion for developing a well-coordinated marketing strategy. To create a strong marketing impact, a firm needs to develop appropriate programs in these 4 key areas. It is also needed to ensure that all aspects are well coordinated and conformity with each other to give a clear image to their target markets. And for the last step is implementing and controlling marketing programs. A firm needs to manage the international marketing effort properly. Firms also need proper analysis, planning, implementation, and control of their marketing programs. A good marketing program is not good enough for success. That's all for my report.
Good afternoon to everyone. I am Loraine and Bantatua, and I am one of the reporters of Lesson 19, Risks Involved in International Marketing. The first one is commercial risks. Commercial risks refers to the firm's potential loss or failure from poorly developed or executed business strategies, tactics, or procedures. There are some of the causes of commercial risks. One is lack of knowledge, inability to cope with changes, long distances, fluctuations in exchange rates, increase in carriage rates. Commercial risks can be minimized by using forecasting techniques and keeping a careful watch on the changing business condition in the concerned country, and also keeping a track of the changes in the world economy. Exporters have to be prepared to face any eventuality, and wisdom lies in forecasting and anticipating. And also, of course, quick responding at the earliest hour. The second risk is political risk. It is also known as geopolitical risk. It arises when a country's government unexpectedly changes policy, which in turn negatively affects foreign businesses. These policy changes may include items such as trade barriers that restrict or discourage international trade. Some of the government will ask for more money or tariffs in exchange for the right to export items to their country. Tariffs and quotas are used to protect domestic producers from foreign competition. This also can have a huge effect on the profits of an organization because it either cuts revenues from the result of attacks on exports or restricts the amount of revenues that can be earned. These are the following factors affecting the political situation. The first one is changes in the party in power in the concerned country, followed by one of the head of the government. Coups, civil wars and rebellions, wars between the countries.
So for the number 3 is the legal risk. Different countries have different laws with different meanings. Therefore, they emphasize to implement these laws to selected areas. So when we say legal risk, it is the risk that is associated with breaching laws or regulation is known as legal risk. In particular, a company's business operations are subject to all applicable regulations in the hosting country. Examples comprise the conditions for ownership, tax law, employment law, and environmental legislation. Next is number 4, which is the foreign exchange risk. Foreign exchange rate plays a vital role in the price fixing in international marketing. So it is the risk that could result from currency changes in international payment transactions are referred to as foreign exchange risk. It indicates the potential for a reduction in an investment's value as a result of fluctuation in the comparative values of the currencies involved. Foreign exchange risk is one form of jurisdiction risk that investor may encounter. For the number 5 is the credit risk. In the present scenario of growing global competition, export business is not possible without selling goods on credit. So when we say credit risk, the international market is subject to credit risk in both its financing and selling operations, since loaners and other buying counterparties may break other contract agreements, the price of the company's investment may decline, or the company may go bankrupt. Credit downgrades, payment requirement defaults, or problems with transaction settlement are some ways that credit risk might manifest. For the number 6 is the economic risk. Many variations in marketing system originate in straightforward economic differences. So when we say economic risk, organizations that are establishing or have already developed an overseas branch in a foreign country incur economic risk in international business. It is brought on by elements including a shift in the national government or its policies, a drop in the credit rating of international investment, and changes in currency rates. As a result, economic risk means that if a business is based in a foreign country, the economy of that nation will have an impact on the organization's business model. This raises the financial risk element for international organizations. Next is number 7, which is the technological risk. Science and technology are fast changing. These types of factors obviously affect the market. The use of television, computer, and internet has increased and adversely affected gramophone and the film industry. When we say technological risk, it is a risk that can cause a business disruption. Companies must deal with a variety of technological hazards, including data security issues, cyber attacks, service interruptions, and the challenge of adopting the changing technology. For the last number, which is number 8, cargo risks include various types of risks during transportation of goods from exporter to importer. Collisions, term, leakage, spoilage, explosion, or etc. are some of the transit disasters in export business. When we say cargo risk, it is the companies run the possibility of damage, loss, theft, vandalism, mishap, seizure, and contamination while transporting products domestically or internationally.